Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Am I the only person who loves watching wrap-ups but hate filming them? Same. I'm now going to film my July wrap-up, but I will not be including the books I read for the reading rush because I have an own reading rush wrap-up on my channel, so go check that out. Overall, I did read 20 books in July and 10 of them were for the reading rush, so I'm going to talk about 10 books here. So the first book I read in July was The History of the Beast, aka Bienes Historia by Maja Lunde. This one I borrowed by accident in my ebook library app from Norway, and I wanted to read it, but I didn't necessarily want to read it now, but I just did it because I already borrowed it and I was like, whatever, I would just read it. This one is a very popular book in Norway, and as you can see, it has already been translated into English, so you can check it out if you're not a Norwegian speaker, reader, whatever. The fan is like annoying my hair to death. So this one follows 3 different perspectives. We follow William, who is like in the 18 something hundreds, and he is like making bee cubes, and we see his development making them. We also follow Donald, I believe his name was. We are in 2007 and he has a bee farm. And we are also in the future in China, where we follow Tao, who is working in the fields collecting pollen because the bees are all gone then, and the humans have to collect them themselves. And China is one of the few places who is able to do this, because other places they didn't have enough work power to be able to go through with it. Can I do this? Is this doable? Would this look strange? It works like barely. So basically we really questions how all these stories connect with each other, but also like what really happened to the bees and what is happening in the different storylines. They all have different things going on. Overall, I did really enjoy it. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but I enjoyed a lot of parts of it. I generally just feel like you never get that nice resolution feeling where like all the stories hang together, but overall it was totally okay. And I think it does cover a really important theme and can make you think a lot about the environment, because some of the things that are happening in the book does happen in real life, so that was really interesting and it made me like curious about it. I started googling things because I wanted to learn more about it, etc. So it creates awareness about a really important theme. So generally that's good. I gave it like 3.5 out of 5 stars, almost 4. I think I rounded it up to 4 on Goodreads because it's closer to 4 than 3. I then listened to the audiobook of The Storm Runner by G.C. Cervantes. I do have a physical copy back in Norway, but that doesn't really help me now. The reason I decided to pick this up was because I have the sequel, The Firekeeper, right here as an arc, and I had to read the first book to read the second book, obviously. So this series is based on Mayan mythology. We follow Sane, who also uses a cane because one of his legs is shorter than the other one, so he has a disability. And it's also a book in the Rick Riordan's present. So it's similar to Percy Jackson in the sense that it has a quest connected to the Mayan gods, just not Greek gods, and Sane finds out that he is a demigod like Percy Jackson does, and generally it's just a nice adventure for other kids also to feel connected and see themselves in the characters. I generally enjoyed it a lot. I liked adventureness, I liked the quest stories, I liked all the god things and learning about them. I just feel like there was like this line in plot that didn't really work with me. It was a bit too all over the place. The writing didn't flow that well for me, but overall I did enjoy it a lot. I am excited for the sequel. There was this prophecy where it is destined for someone to let out the god of death out of his prison, and Sane was the one who the prophecy was about, and it was like, don't do it. But we all know that he's totally gonna do it, and I like the whole humor thing, and there's like so many great elements here. And as I usually say when I talk about these Rick Riordan present books, is that if you like Percy Jackson, you will like these, and I just feel like we should give more attention to the books that Rick Riordan is actually like promoting than just giving him credit for promoting them. Just saying. I gave the book like 3.5 out of 5 stars, closer to 4 stars than 3 stars, but yeah, I enjoyed it and I'm excited for the sequel, which I will be making a full review of. I then read We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. This one I got in my Owlcrate box, which I got for my birthday, and I knew it was going to be this book. I was very happy to get this exclusive Owlcrate copy. This was one of my most anticipated releases this year, so I had to get my hands on one. And I can say that I was quite disappointed in it, and it makes me really sad because I wanted to love it. I like, since it's been announced, I've been like, yes, I can't wait for it. And when I read it now, the main feeling I can say I'm feeling is disappointment, which makes me sad. But I did enjoy, of course, some parts of it. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it and I expected to love it. So that's all. This follows Saphira, who is the hunter. She's been hunting for the village she lives in for quite a long while, and no one knows that she's the hunter. Most people thinks that the hunter is a man. She gets this opportunity to bring magic back, where she has to go to this island to get this object that can bring magic back, because magic has been gone for a long time, and instead of magic there has arrived this forest in their land, and that forest keeps growing, and it's very dangerous to go in there because usually you go crazy, you disappear, or if you come out again you will probably die or go crazy soon after. Saphira, as a huntress, is like one of the few people, if not the only one, who can go in there and has come back out again many times, and that is why she's so valuable. We also follow Nasir, who is the crown prince of the land they live in, and he is also an assassin. His dad has trained him as an assassin. He assassinated for his dad, and he is sent off to Saphira, who doesn't know it is Saphira though, to receive the object she's getting and just kill her when she's getting it. They are going to this island where all prisoner of old, when magic was existing, was sent. So like there's a lot of horrible things there, and they are both going there, and yeah, they of course meet, and that's how the story starts. So generally I think that the story started off with a bang. You get introduced to this world, its characters, and then it goes very slow, and then in the end it picks up a bit. But I don't know how to explain it, but there was a lot of reveals in the end, and I felt like there was just reveal after reveal after reveal to make us like feel like we got something, but I think it was too much. I think like the reveals could have come in a bit different way, instead of being like a shock factor value thing where like, it's, of course reveals usually are like, oh my god, shock, but it was just a bit too much because there was too much at once, I believe. The writing is, on the other hand, totally beautiful, and I loved reading it. The language was just beautiful, and I loved how it was written, so really impressed by that. But it didn't really flow well. Sometimes the chapters felt really just disjointed from one another. It didn't feel like a flow in the story. Like we got one chapter, and then in the next they just kept sort of repeating the last chapter, and I just felt like it was a bit too much. I feel like, I don't know how to say it because I'm not an expert in book writing, but I feel like just it could have been edited a bit more to flow better together, because I just felt like we got this one chapter and the other chapter, but it didn't belong together. And the plot for me just didn't work that well, because it just flowed really badly for me, because it just, as I said, the chapters went disjointed, but that was more about like the writing, I would say. Like the sentences was beautiful, but the plot itself was not just slow, but it just went around and it didn't make sense. And also there is this whole thing that this is enemies to lovers, and I think that that was done very badly. I think in general there is a lot of insta-love in YA, but here it was insta-love as well. Especially, I don't want to spoil it, but especially, you know, the enemies, and since the enemy did something to Saphira, and I don't want to spoil this, but for me that would have been totally unforgivable, and I would never forget it, but she kept forgetting it, and I felt that the development was just done so badly, and it bothered me a lot, because it felt for me that she just forgot this thing that they did when it totally should not have been forgotten, but she sort of like became their companions, friends, because, you know, enemies to lovers, but means that they forgive each other, so I'm not actually spoiling it. I just felt it was done badly, and it made me mad. I just generally had a lot of frustration with it, because, as I said, the plot just was weird because it took too long, and when they went around on the island from like, not the beginning and not the end, but like in the between, it just felt like they're going around to find this object, and it felt like all the time was just spent so they could fall in love with each other, and it's not enough to hold up the story for me. And as I said, I hated that they forgot that one thing that they did, but I did love the writing, I did love the ideas and the setting, but I am still going to read the next book because I am curious how it would all wrap up, because it's been announced it's only going to be a duology, and I do think that there is, as I said, a lot of good elements. I was just very disappointed, and there was just some things that didn't work for me at all. And I talked about this book for a long time because I had a lot of feelings, okay? And overall, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I had like a feeling before that this could be a 5-star book because I was like, I will love it. It sounds so great. So giving it 3 stars, it's sad for me, but I am still excited for the next one, and I want to see it all wrap up. And I did think the reviews that we got were good. It was just a bit too much at once. I could have been carried out better. The execution could have been better. That's the word for it. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the next book now because Jesus, that was a long blah blah blah. I then listened to One Dark Throne by Kendra Blake. This one I listened to because I got a script subscription in the month of July because they didn't have the Stormrunner anywhere else than on Scribd available for me. So I listened to the Stormrunner, and then I had like a whole month left. So I was just like, fine, I would just find some audiobooks I'm interested in and just use it throughout the month. So I listened to One Dark Throne. I read the first book, 3 Dark Crowns, in May for Asian Readathon, so I was just like, I could continue with this series. We are on this island of Fenbren, and here triplings are born from the queen every time there's time for new queens, and then they have to kill each other, and one standing left will be the new queen. What is happening? I do not know. Help. In general, I love the idea of this, but I just feel like the execution could have been better for me. I don't know why I keep saying that expression. It sounds so bad. I did not really enjoy the first book because it generally just felt like a ever-going build-up for everything. And in the second book, we are finally in the Ascension year, which means that they're gonna actually start killing each other. And I just generally feel like there were so many opportunities to kill, but it fell flat. And I just feel like the author is trying to surprise us with like not killing characters, but for me, I was just like, be brave enough to kill them, but no one died. Like, that's not exactly a spoiler because people definitely died, but not the way I wanted them to. It's like talking about like this really dark, gruesome fantasy, but it's just all too convenient for me, and I just feel like it could have been more brutal, I guess. You read the third book as well, so I will talk a bit more about it because I generally get more thoughts when I read the third book. So let's just move on, and I will talk more about the whole series more later. I then read A Discovery of Wishes by Deborah Harkness. I wanted to read this for a while because I generally heard good things about it, and also because the series is out and I want to watch that, but I want to read the books first. I don't know how to talk about this book except to say that it felt like a Twilight sophisticated fanfiction. Like, it felt like Twilight, just more sophisticated and like, I guess, better written, but I didn't like it. I don't understand what the thing was. First of all, like, the language was just so like sophisticated, and it took me forever to read. This is probably because I'm so used to YA fantasy. Nothing wrong with YA fantasy, I love it, but it was an adult fantasy, and it was just like, whoa, the language is so much more harder to read. And generally just like, what the fuck was the characters? It follows Diana Bishop, who like finds a manuscript and it's like magical and everyone wants it, and it's like, no one has been able to touch it, but you touch it, oh my god. And she's also a witch, but she doesn't want to use the powers because she's like taking a step away from magic, and she's like, I don't want to use my powers. And then Edward Cullen shows up, aka a vampire. What is actually his name? Is it Michael? What is it? Oh my god, I am horrible.
I don't understand.
Oi.
I am horrible. Search the web, Fred.
Shut up, Siri. That was an accident. What is the name of this freaking vampire? Matthew, Edward, Michael is not all the same shit. It's Matthew, and he's like, I will protect you. And then they of course fall in love. Oh my god, spoilers. And he's just like so controlling and annoying, and I'm just like, please stop. And then nothing happens. They just go around, and then they are horny on each other, and like people after them because of that stupid manuscript. I was done, okay? This book was long. It was like 600 pages long, and I was not ready for that. So overall, no, I didn't enjoy myself. I liked elements to it. I just felt like so disconnected from the story though, and I didn't really like the characters. I gave it like 2 out of 5 stars. I think the end has a lot of potential for the next book because I think the next book will be interesting because of the end. I'm not gonna spoil spoil it, and I did like that. So we will see how I feel in the next book, because obviously I'm going to continue because I never quit things I start. But it wasn't worse than Fallen though, which I read for the reading rush. Fallen takes the cake of everything. I then read The Merciful Crown by Margaret Owen. This one I already posted a full review of, and it was released on the 30th of July. I thought it was the 25th, but they moved it to the 30th, 31st, 30th, one of those dates. And this one I really enjoyed, and I was very happy that I enjoyed it, because I had like an average reading month until this one, and then this one came along and I enjoyed it so much, and I was like, finally. And I don't know what's happening with the angle. Like, I don't know what I want. Do I want this? I don't know. This follows Fee, who is like a crow, and they are like on the bottom of the food chain in their society, and they are treated like shit, but they need them because they're the only one who can like burn the bodies and stop plague thing that is happening in the country, because they are immune while all the others can get it and die. There's like different bird types where like they have different abilities and stuff, and she's also like a crow witch, where she can use the tooth of like the other creatures that use their abilities, so they don't have their own birthright / abilities, but they can steal others for a temporary time as long as the tooth lasts. She's also like a chief in training, and when the crown prince of the country, who is a phoenix, fakes his death because his stepmom wanna murder him, then they decide to help him. This starts the book off. I enjoyed this so much. I thought it was very original, while some of the plot was a bit predictable. I did enjoy it a lot, and I gave it like 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm very happy and I'm very excited for the next book, even though it isn't coming in a long while. But overall I just thought it was very good and original. I enjoyed it a lot, and check out my full review. I will link it down below if you want more thoughts, because clearly I can't speak right now. I then read Sky in the Deep by Adela Young. This one is like a Viking story thing, and I picked it up because I got a companion book as an arc from NetGalley, so I felt like I needed to read this before, and I had a script subscription, so voila, I audiobooked it. I generally don't like Vikings, and I'm from Norway, so yeah, I think Vikings are stupid, but whatever. This follows the main character that I have forgotten the name of, and she is in battle, and then she sees her brother who has been dead for a long time, and it turns out that actually he's been living with this other tribe of Vikings that are their enemies, and she is being captured by them as well. And then she learns about how it's been living, and it's like, oh my god, are they actually the same people as us? Wow. So overall, I thought this book was totally fine. It was, again, instantly, why does this keep happening? But also, like, it was pretty obvious what was gonna happen, like when she came there and she felt for them. But it was really strange, because I felt the dolphin was really bad. Like, she just came there and she was like, oh my god, they're actually people. I was like, yeah. And I know like it can be obvious for us, but I guess as the character, they believe all the line told that they are different or whatever, and then they're not. I don't even know. But I enjoyed some parts of it. I just felt that the fighting was meh, the characters was like meh, so I give it like 3 out of 5 stars. It was totally fine, and it's not like I hated it or everything, but I didn't like love it, so it was okay. I then read Ever Alice by H. Judy Ramsay. I have a full review of this up because I got this from NetGalley, and it's straight for review. I will link that review down below. And this is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, basically just being Alice going back to Wonderland, and we have all the whimsicalness from Wonderland, and she is also summoned there to kill the Red Queen because the Red Queen has gone too far and they want to kill her to get rid of her. Voila. Overall, I did enjoy myself. It was a totally okay story. Really underused Mad Hatter, which I was bitter about, and I didn't really like the writing that much, and some decisions from the characters didn't make all that much sense, but it's Wonderland, so is anything supposed to make sense? I don't know. But again, check out my full review, and I give it 3 out of 5 stars. So after this, I had a reading rush where I read 10 books, and then there was 3 days left of the month after the reading rush, so I finished 2 more books then, and that will be the last 2 books I will talk about in this video. Finally, I will shut up. The next one I finished was Two Dark Reigns by Kendra Blake. This is the 3rd book in the Three Dark Crown series, which means I'm all caught up except for the 4th book and last book, which is coming in September. This continues the aftermath of book 2, obviously. Well, I can say that I enjoyed book 2 more than book 1. I just feel like the story is just overall like not that great, because, at least for me, because there's just so many elements that I don't like. Like, I feel like I was expecting this grim dark fantasy going into it, like I guess like a last Game of Thrones thing, where like, I don't mean like there should be rape on every corner, but just generally like the dark feel of it, where no one is safe, where there's like really consequences for the things that's happening. And here it just feels like like all flat, and it just went in a direction I didn't like. I would not say that the books has never surprised me. I just wanted more of the story because it had this great idea, but it didn't use this idea to its potential. Because yeah, the queens were just a bit stupid and annoying. I want to see how it all ends. I even care about the characters. I like the writing and everything. I'm not into the whole thing. And in the third book, they went with a certain fantasy trope that I hate. It's probably one of my most hated fantasy trope, and I am just, because I know this certain thing is not gonna happen, there's gonna happen something else. And of course I can't say what it is because spoilers, but overall it just made me very annoyed. But okay, it's fine. But overall I just think like the series is totally average for me. I would probably recommend like another series if I wanted to recommend a fantasy series, because the idea sounds so cool, but the series just doesn't feel cool. I guess you will get my overall thoughts when I eventually read the fourth book. Maybe I will make like a full review video of the series. Most likely not. And for the last book I read in July was Calamity by Brandon Sanderson. And for those who don't know, Brandon Sanderson is one of my favorite authors because I think he is one of the most original authors I ever read, with his ideas of his world and fantasy and all of that. This is the third book in the Reckoner series. Actually finished the series, wow, where we get a conclusion to everything that has been building up in the first two books. So the Reckoners basically follows people getting superpowers. There is this thing that appeared in the sky called a Calamity. People got powers, but instead of them becoming superheroes, they all turn like super evil and sort of ruling over all the normal people that didn't have powers. We follow David, who in the first book meets one of the new superheroes called Steelheart, and Steelheart kills his father in front of him, and he wants revenge. He wants to kill him, but he's basically unkillable, and the whole first book is trying to figure out how to kill Steelheart, and so many more things are revealed. Like, it's not what you expect. Like, you expect a certain thing of like this typical superhero thing story, and it just gives so many other things, and I love it a lot. Like, it's not my favorite series by him because that's Mistborn, but I enjoyed it a lot. This is also his YA series. It's much more easier to read than his adult series that I also love though. But overall, I did love it, and I give it 5 stars. Maybe a bit biased because I sort of expected actually more of the final. There were still things left unanswered when we finished the series, and a part of me hopes that maybe he will expand on it because there's still so much more to explore in it. And there's still questions I have left after it, which I don't like, but I feel like we still got a really satisfying conclusion full of action and great characters. Generally, the strongest part of this whole thing is the ideas and the world. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts. Yay. I think that's all I wanted to say for this video. My hair is wrecked, but that's fine. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a nice day. I'm dying of talking so much, but it's okay. And also it's super hot, but it's okay. Bye!